So I've been spending a lot of time with Elden Ring, and in my 60 plus hours of my initial playthrough, it is safe to say that Elden Ring is without question the best Souls game ever made by From Software. Period. But prior to Elden Ring's release, I was a fan of Bloodborne, Bloodborne being my personal favorite, and Elden Ring has now superseded it. From Software has taken everything that they've learned from all their previous entries and put it into Elden Ring and perfected the open world RPG genre. Elden Ring, in my opinion, is without question the bar when it comes to open world RPGs. That bar formerly belonged to Zelda Breath of the Wild, but now I feel it belongs to Elden Ring, and all future open world games will be compared to Elden Ring, as that is now the mainstay in bar. So when you fire up Elden Ring and you play through it, one of the things that's going to come to your attention almost immediately is how gorgeous this game is. But I want to be clear, it is gorgeous from an artistic point of view. Unfortunately, because of the engine that they're using and the technology being used, Elden Ring's visuals is probably looks a little dated, especially for someone like me who came from Horizon Forbidden West just 1 week prior to Elden Ring's release. And Horizon blows Elden Ring's visuals out of the water. As a matter of fact, for those who might suggest that Horizon Forbidden West is not a good comparable for Elden Ring, how about try looking at Demon Souls Remake? The guys that did it from Bluepoint, who remade the original Souls game made by Miyazaki and his team to begin with. That game's visuals, which does use the same architect in terms of art style and how they design the art, elevates it to a level of what would be called next gen. So when you look at these two previous games that were both released prior to Elden Ring, one of which originally coming from Software in its original form, it's actually a little disappointing for me to see that Elden Ring's visuals look a little dated, despite the fact that the art style is fantastic. The other issue I had with this game in terms of presentation was performance. Now, I want to be clear, I played this game on a PlayStation 5 version via performance mode, and yes, there is frame rate drops, mostly in the open world. But that frame rate drops, for me personally, never impacted my gameplay. Never did I feel like the frame rate drops was the reason why I died. And for those wondering, because this is a Souls game, this is a challenging game, and you will die a lot. I know I did, and most players will. But aside from that, this is the bar for open world games. Once you get past the visuals, once you get past the difficulty, what you have on display is an amazing open world experience. The story is told through in-game dialogue and descriptions of items. It is not cutscene riddled as it is many other games out there where most of the story is told through a cutscene. Most of the story is told through the lore, through conversations with NPCs. The gameplay itself, as stated, is a Souls open world game. Yes, they incorporated a little bit of Sekiro with the crouch and the stealth, and yes, they also incorporated a little bit of the aggression from Bloodborne, but at its core, this is Dark Souls open world. And what that means for the average player is that if you are a fan of the Souls games, you are absolutely going to love this game. If you are not a fan of the Souls games, I would recommend treading with caution, because not everybody has the level of patience required to be able to play through these games. And that's what these games require, patience. In saying that, when it comes to Elden Ring and its gameplay, I will say that regardless of the difficulty, it is the easiest and most new person friendly Souls game of all. Plain and simple. You will never find a more accessible Souls game than Elden Ring. Despite the fact that in terms of accessibility options, it is lacking in that area. When you compare Elden Ring to prior Souls entries, Elden Ring, specifically with the difficulty, is a lot easier because you, the player, have far more options and there's way more ways to go about going through the game. Once you start the game up, you'll be prompted to pick a class, pick your gift, which I highly recommend picking a golden seed to give you more flasks, pro tip, and pick your gender, the look of your character. And once you've created your character, away you go. You're put into a cave. There's a side tutorial area that is optional and you may miss if you don't notice it. And away you go. This is how the Souls games are. These games are not designed to hold your hand. So for people who are complaining about having no markers on the map or anything of that nature, these games are not designed to hold your hand. You are designed to figure it out, much like you would if you were playing an old school Nintendo game. That being said, I will say one thing with criticism, if you will, towards the map, and this is just my personal take. Seeing that this game is an open world as opposed to the previous Souls entries, I do agree with the notion that the main quest should be highlighted on your map. Prior Souls games, because they weren't open world, they were more of open spaces, but were on somewhat of a linear path. You didn't need to tell the player where to go because there wasn't many options to choose from. But in Elden Ring, because you have a vast open world and you're basically free to go anywhere, I think at the very least have the option to turn on main objective markers. All side stuff, all secrets, yeah, that could stay hidden, but like the main objective I think would make it a lot better for players if it was highlighted, and it would make it a much better barrier for entry for new players. With all that being said, I love my time with Elden Ring. I'm still playing it even after I make this review. It is one of the best games ever made. It is, without question, the front runner for the 2022 Game of the Year. It is the bar for open world RPGs. From Software, kudos to you. You've done it again. Miyazaki, you've done it again. This is a game that should not be missed should players be willing to take on its challenge. At the end of the day, I will give Elden Ring a 9.5 out of 10. I'm personally taking that half point off, mainly because of performance issues that not only did I see them on PS5, but they're across the board regardless of platform, and that's something that needs to be addressed. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.